Gibtelecom has been running data centres for over a decade, but believes having a separate, dedicated entity will allow for a greater focus to meet the customers' evolving needs and requirements. Another advantage is the fact that data centres pay half the amount of tax than telecommunications companies do.
Well, it's partly been a consideration, but we were doing separated accounts anyway, where we knew how much money we were making, turnover we were producing from data centres, how much profits we were making, what it cost. So we knew all that anyway, and we could have been paying 10% on that, as you say, because it isn't a telecommunications industry service, which would require payment of 20%. But obviously having it in a company does make it cleaner as a whole. But that wasn't the prime reason for doing it.
5 people seconded to Rockolo from Gibtelecom. You said in the press conference, totally at arm's length. What sort of investment has Rockolo meant?
Well, the Gibtelecom has obviously invested several millions of pounds in building data centres, both at Mount Pleasant. But if we use the latest World Trade Center one as an example, which is a 100-rack data centre in about 400 metres squared of room to put racks, plus some additional space for power supplies, reserve power supplies, etc. It's cost us, in capital investment alone, about £1.2 million.
So in terms of data centers, what we offer are secure environments for clients to be able to host their IT equipment.
So aimed primarily at gaming companies?
Gaming companies were the catalyst for the business, which we set up over a decade ago. But the idea is to expand that into other areas, such as finance, banking sectors, etc., yes.
And expansion, I would imagine, would mean also the services that you offer, not only the customer base.
That's correct. So in terms of services at the moment, we're just offering space, so environmental space. But the idea is to be able to offer more managed services in the IT or to the IT community locally, where we can offer services such as cloud, etc., so that these IT companies don't have to go and look abroad for these services.
How much easier do you think it would be for Rockolo to market itself away from Gibtelecom?
It gives us an opportunity to refresh, provide a different brand. We're already working with local IT providers to be able to establish this brand in the market, and I think it's very promising times ahead, yes.
Investment at a time of uncertainty. But the company doesn't see any signs of a reduction in the gaming sector. In fact, it's planning on building other data centres on the Rock. And a move away from stringent EU legislation and directives may not be a bad thing.
If the government of Gibraltar eases up on the regulation of telecommunications, I think we'll crack open a bottle of champagne. So I don't think, EU regulation of telecoms is very, very heavy and particularly hard work for a small company like us. So if there was a more pragmatic approach coming from whatever happens in the UK, as well as Gibraltar, I think that would be for the benefit.
Rockolo believes a separate identity will allow it to refresh and rebrand. In fact, the company believes these are promising times ahead.